Oh,
Hi, friends. Welcome back to this week's episode of Dead Funny University. I am your host and fellow student Kelsey, and again, teaching us on this, our 7th episode of Zelda, is our wonderful, my wonderful co-host, our wonderful teacher here, Chris. How are you doing this evening, and how excited are you to continue talking about one of your all-time favorite games?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty excited. As I was kind of talking before we kind of got on here, it's very easy to get lost in what we've talked about already. So there are a couple things that I am going to be not necessarily correcting, but there are a couple things that I feel like I should be adding a little bit more detail to kind of help bring it a little bit more in front of you and kind of understand. Because I know some of the games, whenever I'm talking about the temples and stuff, I'm like, all right, cool. We went to this temple, we went to this temple, got this, got this, got this. And I'll tell you like what the main goal was. But this one, in my opinion, and I feel it's very fair to argue this, is that there was a lot more than just like we're going to this temple. There were other characters that were involved that kind of made a little bit more of an impact story wise for this.
Mhm.
I was actually watching a video because, as I've said multiple times, Zelda is my second favorite series, but it's nowhere like Final Fantasy to me, where I've played it over and over and over again. I played each one of them like maybe 2, maybe 3 times. So there's obviously things that I could forget or misremember. But I was listening to this one thing, and because I try to do that, before we get on to do this, so I can kind of just get like a hot remember, those things where it's like Ocarina of Time in 3 minutes, bam, and it's like, okay, cool, yeah, now I remember all this. So I was listening to this one guy talk about this game, and he had said something very interesting, and I wanted to kind of say it to you too, so you kind of understand, I guess, why this is like pretty much the entire population's favorite game as far as the Zelda fandom. Uh, is like this game hits so hard because at the end of the day, it's like no matter what happens, no matter the outcome, and going into the different timelines, none of it is good for Link at all. You have the timeline where he dies, so obviously that fucking sucks. You have the timeline where he wins and he fucking all like everybody he knows, like this whole fucking Tamriel and shit like that, like it's all changed forever, and we'll get into that when we get there. But obviously adding the timeline into 7 years past, that's so much time that he's missed out with all these people that he's made friends with and stuff like that. Some might still be around, some aren't still around, or some are still around, things like that. Not to mention the land gets changed forever, which we'll talk about that as well. And then you've also got the timeline where he does win and gets turned back into a kid, and literally he does, or like the time gets erased, but like everybody still, like he gets sent back in time, but that's a different, like I said, different dimension, so he's gone, and everybody else just parties on, like they forget the hero of time, that it's just like, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing, Ganondorf was beat, don't know how the fuck it happened, and he's not there to be with his friends and celebrate and stuff like that. So it's like there's no good outcome for Link in like any one of these whatsoever. It just
Yeah.
goes to show like how selfless he was regardless, and he kind of knew with the people around him and the sages and stuff telling him like basically like this is your destiny is to do this. There's no reward.
Hmm.
It's not going to happen, and it's crazy to like think about it that way, because I mean most of the times when I played Ocarina of Time as a kid. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I don't think I've played Ocarina of Time. Definitely haven't played it in my 20s, and I'm almost 30 for sure, 100%. So my teens possibly might have been the last time that I played Ocarina of Time. So I do actually kind of, now that we're doing this DFU, I do actually want to kind of go back and play Ocarina of Time one more time as an adult, just to see if there's things that like I understand a little bit better. It's kind of like the Final Fantasy VII syndrome with me, where like I didn't understand the whole who's Cloud, who's Zack, and why is fucking Cloud constantly doing shit that Sephiroth wants him to do. Like that didn't resonate in here. I didn't understand it when
Yeah.
I was playing it, so I was just like, fuck, I just want to beat Sephiroth. That's all I want to do. Like I'd like to go back and do the same thing with Ocarina of Time, because I think that there's a lot there that as a kid I probably didn't really understand and missed. And it's nothing main story wise, but even just side story wise. For instance, one of the things that I could bring up is that we talked about Link saying goodbye to Serena, and him not knowing
Yeah.
that that was the second to last time he was ever going to see her before all the shit starts to happen and everything
Yeah.
else. And she gives him that ocarina. The importance of that ocarina was that basically at that point you just thought it was another weapon, or but those are the things that got you to where you needed to go. Like it was that was a lot more of a crucial item than I remember it being whenever I was playing the game. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
cool, this fucking flute thing. I'm just keep going. I don't give a shit, and I'm just gonna keep going on. Or like whenever you meet Marin and she teaches you Epona song, it's like that was so crucial because in the future Link needs to get from point A to point B, and he's actually able to find Epona due to being able to have that song. Epona's able to remember him, and then he's able to use that horse. Without that, you wouldn't have the horse. So it's just like so many like little things like that, which obviously is plot driven, but still, it didn't seem like it was plot driven to me. It just seemed like it was little side bullshit that I was like, okay, whatever. I don't fucking care about this. So I'd like to play it again as an adult and have like a different perspective on it. I don't think like
Yeah.
my thoughts overall are going to change, but I do think it would add to the experience of the game.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
gonna absorb things that you never would have seen
right,
as a child. Like, you weren't applying critical thinking skills to it. You weren't relating to the character in that way. And as an adult,
right.
you have a greater long-term understanding. I've never heard anybody's that's not fair. I'll rephrase that. It's very rare that you have a piece of media that is deeply loved that people wouldn't happily trade places with the main character. They identify with that main character and they're like, "Yeah, I would go in and I would love to be part of this." So I think you would happily love to be Cloud if you had the opportunity. And
Mhm.
but when you have that conversation, the main one that stands out where it's like, "Nope, I'm good," is the Hunger Games. Most people are like, "Fuck that noise, not interested." Also, most of us, I think, would die terribly and terribly quickly. But I think that's a good point with Zelda because I think I could easily fall into that being like, "This is so fanciful and so cool, and look at all of this kinda good stuff," but that's a good point. There is no positive opportunity, there's no positive life for Link. Every single life that he could possibly live is full of tragedy. It is full of loss, it is full of despair, and in some of them, he's lost everything, in some of them, he's lost everything in a different way, whether it's all
Right.
the relationships that he's made or he lost everybody, and that is a tough reality, and it's also tough to intentionally build the games with that consequence for your main character.
And I'll also say this too. This is a big fan theory around what actually happened because Nintendo leaves a lot of this up to our speculation. Yeah, they gave us the Historia and stuff like that. They want to leave a lot of this up for us to kind of, take a guess, or maybe they just don't know how they want to tie it and fucking see which fan theory is the fucking best and then go with that one.
Yeah, I think
Fucking
they
game
did that with
companies do that shit
Sherlock.
all the time. Yeah, game companies do that shit all the time. There's plenty of times where I've seen somebody say something and then the game company like, this person got it exactly right. I'm like, sure they did.
Yeah, bullshit.
It's more like, oh, that was better than what we fucking had. Throw that shit away. So
Hey,
yeah.
crowdsource your creativity, go for it. Just be honest about the fact that you're crowdsourcing your creativity.
I was like, a lot of people don't think about it, but fucking Black Suit Spider-Man, that was a fan idea. Someone had drew that,
Really?
and Stan Lee and them, yeah, they bought it off of him, and I know for a fact it was somewhere around here. I mean, obviously with inflation, it's different now, but still, they bought it. They bought the idea. It was either 40 or $80 for
Whoa!
Black Suit Spider-Man. Hmm.
Alright.
That was a fan idea. They literally were not going to do it, and someone had drew it and sent it in as like fan art, and they fucking bought it from him. And yeah, black. Now imagine what Black Suit Spider Man's become now. Not only is it fucking its own thing as Venom, a symbiote, but I mean,
Mhm.
how far that shit's gone through the fucking universe. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um, but yeah, anyways, so I guess to kind of just jump into it. So a couple of things that I know I wanted to talk about. I think I did say that Link didn't get Navi until after the Deku Tree, which isn't true. He got Navi is the one that basically told him he needed to come to the Deku Tree. The Deku Tree sent Navi to Link to say, "Hey, come to the Deku Tree." Once again, there's like 5 minutes worth of gameplay between that point, so it's the same thing.
It's
So
not
I
the
think I
end of
said you
the
got
world?
Navi once you got there. Yeah. One thing that I didn't go into is the curse that the Deku Tree had, the dying with the boss inside of him. That was actually cast on him by Ganondorf. Ganondorf actually made it to the Deku Tree, which is why that little bodyguard was in place afterwards, and was
Oh!
trying to get the Corkery Stone, which we've talked about the stones before. I don't remember if I had a picture for you or not, but I went ahead and grabbed another one just in case I didn't. But the Corkery Stone, which is the green one, he was trying to get that because you need all three of these stones to access the Temple of Time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We haven't talked about that in, like,
Mhm.
this set of episodes, but we did talk about that previously with the Temple of Time. Cool.
So
Following.
the Deku Tree straight up just told him to go fuck himself. Like, wasn't gonna happen. So Ganondorf, being extremely upset with this level of courage, decided to, fucking inflict this curse on him, slowly decaying and rotting him. So yeah, the Deku Tree just flat out was like, "No, you can go fuck yourself. I'm not giving it to you. It's not gonna happen." Just what a
Okay,
badass.
so
For a tree, what a badass. I mean, how many times are you gonna say that in life? For
that's
a tree,
actually a
what a
very good
badass.
point. There are a few badass trees. They do exist though. There's a couple of really cool stories, but we'll focus on this one right now. So timeline here. Ganondorf goes to get the stone so he can get into the Temple of Time. Tree says fuck off. Ganondorf curses the tree. The tree sends Navi
Link.
to Link to get Link
Hmm.
because he knows Link is the one that he wants to give the stone to. Does Link carry out the stone from the Deku tree?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. And so now
Which
this
that's
makes a
another
lot more
cool fan
sense.
theory.
Okay.
There's another cool fan theory is whether or not Link's mother, because she succumbed to her wounds after she gave Link to the Deku Tree, whether or not Link was actually named Link by his mother or by the Deku Tree. Because Link could have been named something different,
Oh.
and the Deku Tree knew that he was destined to do what he was supposed to do, so that he named him Link, which would be the correct name of the hero of time.
Well, imagine also for like the Kokeries when woman shows up, woman's like, "This is my child Andrew," and Deku's like, "Nah, his name's Link," and they're like, "You," but she said it was Andrew. Should we respect the dying woman's wishes? And Deku's tree's like, "Fuck that. His name is Link. Take it."
Mm. So, and then we did get a little bit more clarification on Link's dad. I guess I just hadn't read this yet. Apparently, he was a soldier in the Hylian War, and it said that he died, and his mom left during the Civil War to get her son away, so that way he would never have to, or that way he wouldn't have to live, because she thought they were going to see bad times after the Civil War happened.
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted to get her son away by taking some injuries herself, getting out. She succumbed to those wounds and died, and Link grew up in the Corkery Forest Kokery Forest, and his dad died in battle.
Okay. Is that the only time you've talked about whoever Link's dad was?
Yeah,
Or mom,
yeah.
for that matter, now that I
No,
think
no,
about it.
we talked about his mom at the beginning of Ocarina of Time, because that's how it opens
Yes.
up. It opens
Yeah.
up on her on a horse, holding him as a baby, going to the fucking Lost Forest.
But before this game, we haven't talked about it at all, right?
No,
Okay, I
no,
didn't think so.
and that is the only, and that's the weird part, because there's so many different links. That is the only time like any of the dads are referred to, and that's where the big fan theory comes into play, which is cool, which I'm gonna love diving into. Is that in one of the games called Twilight Princess, you fight this knight in Highland armor,
Mhm.
and it's believed to be one of the links from past,
Oh, interesting.
because it teaches you skills that it knows. It gets you prepared to like start the game basically. And so one of the biggest theories is that the link that lives, he ends up marrying, once again, none of this is factual. He ends up marrying Marin, which we haven't talked, or Marin? Malin. He ends up marrying Malin, who we haven't talked too much about. We'll get into her like real shortly here. He ends up marrying her, and then she, whenever all this shit goes down with Ganon while Link is frozen for 7 years, she ends up getting replaced into, or getting placed into like a refugee camp almost. And then after like all this said and done, she sees Link on Epona, which she gave him, and that automatically like resonates with her. And then they end up falling in love and having kids. And that Link that is actually in Twilight that shows you the stuff is that Link, because basically they end up having kids. That kid has another set of kids, which that kid is the one that ends up being the Link in Twilight, while the original one that we were first talking about ends up joining up in the war, because there's nothing left for him to do. So to serve, so that way he can still provide for Malin and their kid.
Mhm.
Um, and he ends up dying in the war, just like his father did. And so that's why you see him in the Hylian gear later. Once again, just a fan theory. It's
Hmm.
not been
Interesting fan theory.
whatsoever like validated. But I thought that was pretty fucking interesting, because I remember the first time I saw that Twilight Princess, like it's all like my child and shit like that, and then it's sitting there talking like you are the same as me and stuff like this. I was like, who the fuck is this random skeleton that's just telling me this? I don't give a fuck about this. I don't know who you are. So yeah. That was back before I understood the concept of the hero of time. I just thought it was
Yeah.
like he comes back every time to fucking save the world. Like that's what he is. No, dumbass is fucking multiple. Yeah.
I
As a
like how
kid,
you're
there were a
calling
lot of
younger
things
you
I
a
didn't give a
dumbass.
shit.
It's
Yeah.
like, you're not really a dumbass. You just didn't think about it.
I did dumb shit, so it's fine. It's okay. But yeah, so like I said, a couple really cool theories there. And like I said, that's some fun stuff that we could dive into once we actually finish the game. But yeah, so as I was kind of telling Kelsey a little bit, with this being like once again the biggest Zelda title, the one that made it into the Hall of Fame, started the Gamer Hall of Fame, and just the one that starts off the timeline. I'm gonna go a little deeper into these dungeons as far as like the actual characters and stuff to kind of help bring this story to a whole, where other episodes that you may have watched, like Minish Cap, seems like I jumped through them real quick. There really wasn't a lot to those dungeons. So I just don't want people to think that I'm giving one game more over the other just due to the fact that it's my favorite. Obviously, it's going to seem biased, but there's a lot more to this game with the fact that it sets up literally 3 separate fucking timelines.
Yeah, there's a
So I think
reason
it's
for
really
it.
important. Yeah, I think it's really important that we kind of go into that because like it won't be the same with Majora's Mask. Like that's my second favorite. There's not really story related elements to the temples besides I went there, I beat the boss, I got the mask, I freed the giant, I left. Like that's all that happened.
Very deep.
Anyways, ah, fucking woo, the story got me, man. Anyways, but so we talked about the fact of Link going through the Deku tree. That was your first temple. That was the forest temple. He does give you the stone, and then he dies, and then you leave. But before he dies, the Deku tree is the one that tells you your destiny is to meet Zelda. He doesn't know too much about it, but your destiny is to meet Zelda. That's how you end up getting the idea that you're going to see Zelda in the first place.
Hmm.
He tells you about Zelda, says that you need to meet her. Your destiny is to meet this girl. So you go to meet Zelda. So we hightail it out of the forest. On the way out, we run into Serena, which I know we talked about. She's super sad that you're leaving. As a token of your friendship, she gives you her ocarina and or her old ocarina, and then she teaches you how to play what they call Serena's melody, I believe it was, or song, Serena's song. Actually, I think is what it was. But yeah, she teaches you how to play that, which is pretty cool. And it's one of the better songs in Ocarina of Time. All of them are really good, but it's one of the better ones. But we'll go over some of those songs when we get to a different episode. That'll be more of a like after the game's over. Um, so we leave out and we head out to Hyrule Castle. And as we saw on the map, we've got the forest all the way down to the bottom right. Hyrule Castle's all the way in the top center. So we're heading all the way across Hyrule Field, which is actually really cool mechanic in this game. Is that for how old it is, day and night actually pass by in the game. Only when you're on the Hyrule map. Whenever you're like actually in a town, it's
Hmm.
stuck to those specific cycles.
Oh,
But whenever you're
interesting.
outside, day and time actually move. So like it because nighttime comes out and like skeletons and shit come out of the ground and stuff like that and try to fight you and bats come flying around and stuff like yeah. Like day
Huh.
and night, it's completely fucking different. Which it's very interesting. All right. So bats. Obviously, there's so much shit, especially COVID and shit. Everybody talking about bat stuff. I had a very interesting conversation about this yesterday, and I just want to bring it up real quick. Why bats are so depicted as just being assholes.
But they're
And they're
puppies.
so fucking cute. Yeah,
They're
bats are
so
so fucking cute.
sweet.
They are so fucking cute. It's like every time you see a bat in a video game, it's always like, kill it. Like it's always a bad guy. They're fucking big on like Halloween. Bats are scary and spooky and shit like this. And it's like they're really like I
They're
got into
sky
watching like some of those
puppies.
videos where they like fucking feeding them bananas and shit. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
look at him. He
They're
just wants his
so
banana.
cute. I've loved them
Mm-hmm.
for years. And when people are like, they're evil, and I'm like, I get that vampire bats are a problem, and I understand that I get where that fear comes in. I get it. But outside of vampire bats, they're incredibly helpful for the environment. The bulk of them are
Mm-hmm.
really like they are good to have around, and they don't carry contrary to popular opinion, they don't carry a lot of diseases, and they're so cute. And one day
Mm-hmm.
Scott and I want to go to New Zealand, and they have these 3 foot tall fruit bats there that I want
Mm-hmm.
that they have like they don't have farms, but they have places where they roost every night. And you can go and you can like hold out your arm and it'll crawl down your arm and you can hold it. I want to do this so badly and I'm so excited about it.
The ones that are really big, that's a little intimidating to me.
All the really
That's
big ones are fruit bats, so they will not hurt you. They are
yeah, I know
just
they
like,
won't hurt me, but still, it's like, man,
yeah.
you could fuck me up if you really wanted to. Like, you could fuck me up if you really wanted to. Like, oh
Yeah,
man.
there's one super huge bat that has like over a 6-foot wingspan. And I'm like, I do get the fear because the one scary movie I watched when I was young that like freaked me out, like I was crying
Mhm.
and uncomfortable, and like years later I was still thinking about it and unhappy. Was Jeepers Creepers, and he's got wings in
Oh, I
that
love
one.
Jeepers Creepers.
I will never
Yes.
fucking watch that movie again. It fucking terrified me.
Yes.
I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I
Three,
hated it.
three was three was terrible. It was so bad. It was so bad.
Fucking hated it.
Two was good. One and two
Fucking
are
hated it.
fucking so good,
I
but three
watched the
was
second one
terrible.
too. I don't think I watched the
So
third one.
good.
What happened in the third one?
Don't.
Remind me.
No. Well, the thing was, it was like a low budget done movie.
Oh
Like no one
God.
really wanted a third one, and apparently, like the fucking the dude that directed it was apparently like a pedophile or some shit, or got brought up on pedophile charges after the movie came out. It was
Jeez.
weird. There's this whole scandal with that movie, and the movie itself was not good at all. Like the first two were so good, the third one was so bad. It was fucking terrible. I
Was
didn't
the
even know they had made it.
wait, was the third one the one on the school bus or was that the second one?
That was the second one. Second one was the school bus.
The
The
third one
first
was the
one
one
was
on the
the school.
farmhouse. Well,
The
it
school
either
bus and the
starts or it
farmhouse are
ends at
the
a
same one.
farmhouse where one of the whoever survived from the I think it was whoever survived from the school bus,
Yeah,
like had
yeah,
him strung up and they were sitting at the
yeah.
end and he was sitting there all day long with a
27 years, yeah. He's like, in
yeah.
27 years, we're gonna start moving again. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So maybe I didn't see the third one. Maybe I just saw the
Which
first
is
two.
great because both of my favorite monsters slash killers are fucking Jeepers Creepers and fucking Pennywise, and
Oh
they
my
both have
god.
that. Like
Jeepers
Jeepers
Creepers
Creepers, I
was
think it's
fucking
27
terrifying.
years, and Pennywise, I think it's 21 or 23 years they come
Oh my
back.
god.
So yeah, I like that.
Ugh. That
Pretty
just
solid.
scared the
Pretty
ever
solid.
loving hell out of me.
So good. So good.
Terrible.
So me and my
Terrifying.
friends used to literally watch the second one and be like, all right, if we were in that scenario, like, will we actually leave the bus or will we just try to stay and hide on the bus and shit? Dude, oh, we went and saw that shit in theaters. We were all fucking like sitting there talking about it stuff. Oh, so good.
When he's
Such a
running
good movie.
along beside the bus and he chucks the thing at it and it's got the
Oh,
belly
yeah. The
button and
little
the
ninja star.
fuck all.
Yeah. That's
God.
probably my favorite part of the first one is whenever they shine the lights on him and he just starts screeching as he's taking, like, Danny was his name, but the guy, and he's taking the guy away and he starts screeching and like his fucking thing just opens up like that and he's like
Yeah.
screaming and shit. I was like, oh my God. It's like, he's a badass.
The
Let me know
first
he
one
is.
scared me a lot more than the second one did, but yeah.
The first one definitely was a lot more creepier. The second one, I think, was just more adrenaline and thriller than it was like actual horror. The first one was a lot more horror to me.
And the second one where they had him looking down the bus and he did the whole like nope, 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 and they like sat back down in their seats until he got to one of them, and it was like, all right, that
Mhm.
just felt so kitschy.
Yeah, whenever he was doing the smelling, although that was so weird to see his nose open up like right here, and he was just like smelling, looking for those fucking specific body parts.
Specific organs. Oh, fuck all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was a
Okay.
kid, I was definitely one of those kids that said Pacific, by the way. I thought that was the word. Yeah. For the longest time, I
I
would
think
literally
you
go
still do it
Pacific.
occasionally and it makes me
Uh-uh.
twitch.
I don't think it's Pacific. I don't think I say that one. I
Okay.
know that one that you used to get onto me for, and I actually got fixed before Get Funny, was rather. I used to say brather. And I thought it was
Oh,
literally started with a B, and I used to say
nope.
that around you all the time, and it fucking drove you nuts. Because you're the one that pointed it out to me, and
Uh-huh.
I'd be like, I'd rather not, and then I think you were the first one to be like, you realize rather is the word, right? Like there's no B in there, and I was like, blew my mind. For the longest, I'd rather not do that.
You know what? Don't ever say that I have not improved your life, Chris. It may be just one word, but I have made a difference.
Which is great because we were playing something the other night. Mike pointed out, he's like, I can't remember what he said. He said something. He's like, or as my friend would say, stamina. No, that's all like, yes, I would. Zombies. We were playing the new zombies. That's what it was. And one of the perks, it's called stamina up. And I was like, stamina. I got stamina. Yay.
Stamina is how it's supposed to be said. That's not what
I
you
know.
normally say.
I was being I was being a jackass because we were all streaming and he was making fun of me. So, you know.
Got it. Okay, good. I was like, I had a full stop where I'm like, I've heard you say this so
She's
many
like, he
times.
got it
Like, I don't need to correct him. This one is correct, right? Right?
right. Sooner or later, you're gonna forget how to say
I
the word.
know.
God damn it, Chris!
Oh God, that will be my last day on Dead Funny. I'm gonna be like, fuck it. I can't do this. I can't do this to my
I can't do anymore.
vocabulary. I'm getting out.
His his dumbness is fucking transferring.
It's getting
Oh
to
god.
me. Oh man.
Anyways, but
Back to
yeah,
stuff that
so
we're supposed to be
Zelda.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, Zelda. Anyways, so so this is actually pretty fun. So first things first is that we do meet Marin, because her ranch is like kind of like in the middle of the Hyrule Fields, and that's where we end up getting Epona. So Marin. I know. I'm pretty sure it's fucking Marin and goddamn Majora's Mask, and I think they pronounce her as Malin in Ocarina. Hold on, I was just looking this up to
You
make
know what?
sure I
I'm
was
just gonna
saying her
Google
name
it
right.
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So it's Malin in Ocarina of Time and Marin in fucking, because the same chick in fucking Majora's Mask.
Okay.
But yeah, Malon,
So
Malin.
they set you up for failure, is what they did.
Yeah,
That's
you
nice.
know, she's Malin in Majora's Mask.
I was thinking of cutting it. I'm so leaving that in there.
Fuck.
All parts of this conversation are
I
staying
thought
in.
she was Marin. That's fine. Fuck. I thought she was Marin. Oh my god. Where the fuck did I get Marin from?
Not a damn clue.
Oh, this goes to show how long it's been since I played the fucking game. Anyways, so you meet Malin, who apparently is a new character to me. So you meet her, and she lives on this ranch, which is pretty great. Her uncle and her dad. I found a picture of all three of them together, which I'm so happy I did. Tell me who the fuck this looks like to you.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That is so Mario and Luigi. Oh my
Right?
god. That's
They're both useless as shit
embarrassing.
too. Yeah, they're both useless as shit too.
Why would
So
they do that?
I guess Final Fantasy is not the only game to come out on Nintendo to throw shade at at a different game. So everybody wanted that top spot, was competing for the top spot. Mario already had it. So
Oh god, there is such a
Zelda threw
joke
shade at
here.
Mario, and fucking Final Fantasy threw shade at fucking Zelda.
There's an ongoing meme about like what you ordered versus what Wish delivered, and this is definitely a like Wish
Right.
delivered Mario and Luigi.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Oh man, yeah, I thought you'd get a kick out of that one. They're
That's
fucking terrible. I hate both
amazing.
of them. But anyway, so that's her useless family. They're fucking useless. But anyways, so you meet her. She teaches you Epona song, which I made sure I found a picture with her with baby Epona,
Aww.
little horse Epona, and yeah, so she teaches you the song that kind of, you know, whenever you play it, Epona hears it. Epona will always come to you every time Epona hears that song,
Cool.
which is really, really cool. So yeah, so you meet her. So this is where we've pretty much talked about almost everybody, because I know I ran through Princess Ruto with you, which we're going to go deeper into her, which is the fucking Zora princess. But this kind of completes it's not really a love triangle, but the love group with all the women who are in love with Link in his life. And cool, I found this picture. But so you got Zelda, Ruto is the Zora girl. There's Malin and Serena. Which is also cool because it had this picture next to it, which I grabbed. That was awesome. Is to show you them then, and then them 7 years after Link pulls the sword. Which obviously you don't see Serena because she's
She's the exact same. Yeah, she doesn't age.
Yeah, they don't grow up. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too.
They're all children, and then they're all babes.
Fair enough. It's fair enough. I mean, I kind of feel weird about saying that about Rudo, but you know, hey, under the right circumstances, who fucking knows, right?
They do make enough vodka for that.
Oh man. Anyways, so you end up learning that, and then you go over to Hyrule Castle, which you don't get Epona yet, but you go over to Hyrule Castle, and you go into Castle Town first, which is like the little town in front. You go to Hyrule Castle, you got to sneak in to see Zelda. You can't just request an audience because the guards are gonna tell you to go fuck yourself. So you sneak in, which has always been one of my fun parts of fucking Ocarina. Like I love stealth stuff on games. I don't know why, but like that's if I have an option to do something stealth wise, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna try to do the stealth option because that's just really fun to me. Like
It's
I
a
know how we
puzzle.
talk about
It's a yeah.
GTFO. Yeah, like how we talk about GTFO, like I fucking love the like the stealth quiet aspect of that and everything else. But anyways, so you got to sneak around the guards. It's not too crazy. Marin gives you something. I can't remember what it is, but her dad's like fucking drunk and asleep in front of one of the doors, and you got to get him to move his fat ass out the way so he can get through the door. He leaves. You go through the door, and you end up meeting Zelda. So she's telling you stuff that's kind of going on about like how she's feeling weird about this Ganondorf guy. And then you look through a window, and you actually see Ganondorf like take a knee in front of the king, and then he actually looks straight at the window that you two are looking in on, which is a small window, and just smiles at you.
Oh, not good.
Mm-hmm. So, which we'll get into a little bit more here in a little bit too on why he's just being so coy about it. So she tells you a little bit more about what's going on, all this other stuff, and that basically you need to enter the Temple of Time, and to do that, you need the 3 stones to do that, and then to pull the sword, so that way you can use the sword to seal away Ganon. So that's where Link gets like the idea for this quest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta, and then Impa shows up. She talks to you for a little bit and kind of tells you, you know, she's the caretaker of Zelda, all this other stuff. She's gonna do whatever she has to protect Zelda's life, and then you gotta leave. So you gotta sneak back out, and now you're on your way. I think you get to choose which one you want to do first. Yeah, I don't think like it makes you do one. I think this is back in the days where they basically just gave you a map and they're like, go fuck yourself. So you get to choose which one you want to go do first. But yeah, so I guess since we're kind of getting closer to time here, we'll do Gorons because there wasn't too much to that one. But anyway, so for Gorons, we go to Death Mountain, which is not too far away from Hyrule Castle. And going up to Death Mountain is where you kind of meet the whole race. They all start talking to you and stuff like that. And you're asking them about the stone. They're like, oh yeah, you got to speak to what the fuck was his name? Dorian. You talk to him, which is basically the leader of the Gorons, and he tells you that there's this dragon-ish creature that is kind of held up inside of Death Mountain, where a lot of the rocks are formed, and the Gorons eat rocks, so it's cutting off their food supply. So if you can help get rid of this dragon so that way they can easily go in safely and be able to continue to get their rocks and eat their rocks and stuff, then you're more than welcome to take the ruby for yourself because he has it. So this is your next obvious fucking temple. So you go through all this other shit, and there's not too much to do in there, but when you get in there, you do end up fighting the big baddie, which is Dodongo. Yeah, Dodongo. And it is this ugly fucker right here.
I was gonna say, it sounds like the
Which
final
is
evolution of the Duolingo owl.
fair. But
That
which
was
is funny
funny. You
because I'm
should have
pretty
laughed.
sure uh, I
I'm
mean, sounds
hilarious.
like it, doesn't
Fuck
look like
off.
it. Anyways, but which is funny though, because in Majora's Mask, this is like a normal enemy, but like in Ocarina of Time, it was like a boss. So unless I pulled the wrong fucking picture, but I was like, was that the boss? And from what I could see, it was. So, anyways, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But so he's slaying this asshole, and the Gorons get basically their food supply back. And what I always love about the Gorons is they always treat Link like family. So they call him like a little brother and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, thanks, little brother. And then they're always trying to get to eat rocks all the time. It's like it would fucking kill me. So, yeah. But so you end up slaying that asshole, and then you get the ruby from the leader of the Gorons. And then we're on our way over to the water temple. So getting to the water temple, we go all the way down to the bottom of the map. And this is where things like basically the brotherly bond is bonded, or the brotherly bond has started between Link and the leader of the Goron. So that's where that kind of story aspect comes into play a little bit later. But basically, like I said, they call you brother, stuff like that, you know, treat you like family, all that fun stuff. So now we're going down to the Zoras, which is, I believe, all the way across Hyrule Field, and then down in the center, somewhat to the leftish, is Zora's domain. We get there, and King Zora is just beside himself. Not that there's too much room to be beside King Zora, and you'll get what I mean whenever I send this. But anyways, so King Zora is beside himself because he hasn't heard anything from Princess Ruda in a while. Princess Rudo, what I believe I remember the story was, is that she was cleaning Lord Jabu, which is this fucking big jackass, this huge well. Cleaning his teeth, bacteria stuff, taking care of him, stuff like that. It's kind of like one of the people that, like I said, Lord Jabu. So he's very high royalty, but he's not like talking like the other Zoras. He's not an actual Zora, but taking care of him when something was going wrong, and he ate her, like literally just straight up ate her. So the king doesn't know this. He's just asking you to go look for her. And that's what she was last doing. So that's when you go to Jabu, and then you end up going inside of Jabu because you can hear her in there to go in and save her. Yeah.
They have a princess cleaning something's teeth? Not normally?
She was just taken care of. She was just taking care of him. Like, that's what she
Aha.
likes to do. So I don't think that, like, specifically, like, you got to go clean his teeth. But yeah, that's what she likes to do, is take care of him.
Losing
But
the
her name
plot
is
and getting
Rudo.
eaten is real bad. Her name's what? I'm
Right,
sorry.
exactly. Rudo, Ruto, Rudo, Princess Rudo. And so you end up going in and looking for her, which, that's always fun. And she tells you that if you can help her out, then she'll give you the thing. Well, throughout this whole thing, she starts to fall in love with you. And you end up rescuing her, getting her out. She gives you that. It's also the Zora's engagement ring for the royal family. This crystal that you just got from her, which is the blue one. It's like the engagement symbol. So
she just kind
is
of
telling you, no, there's no kind of. She flat out tells you that you two are going to get married. Like, that's going to happen. Like, in order for Link to take this, like, he's going to be her husband. Like, she flat out tells you this, which, good thing for Link, he fucking disappears for 7 years. So.
You don't know. They could have a very happy life together. Don't make that decision for him.
I'm going to make that decision for him. So, anyways, so you end up rescuing her. Basically, what was going on was, so there were these things that were attacking his brain and kind of controlling him to do stuff that he doesn't normally do, like eat the princess. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you kind of kill all these things like off of his brain and shit in order to fucking leave and get out of there.
Yee, bad jellyfish.
Yeah, right. So yeah, you end up getting out of there, and so yeah, she tells you that whole thing, and so now you have all 3 of the crystals. So you end up going and booking it back to Hyrule Castle, and then you get there and you see Zelda and Impa on a horse taking off, like they're fucking gone. Mm-hmm. And Zelda looks back at you, and she grabs her ocarina, which is the Ocarina of Time, name of the game, and throws it, and it lands in the moat around the Hyrule Castle. So it lands in the water, and then Ganondorf comes riding out on a horse, and he looks at you, and he asks where they went. And Link's like, fuck you, and grabs his sword and shield, which he's a kid at that point, so Ganon's like, haha, and then just shoots him with a blast and knocks Link the fuck out. But it was all still part of Ganondorf's plan, and we'll get into that here in a second. So Link then grabs the Ocarina of Time and takes the Ocarina of Time and the 3 stones to the temple. We get to the temple. You have to play the Song of Time, which Zelda's already taught you. Whenever you met her the first time, I forgot to say that. She's already taught you. You play the Song of Time, which opens up the doors. When you get inside, there's 3, or to get to the pedestal with the Master Sword, there's 3 stones. The holder of the 3 stones. You got to put them in their correct slots, and then bam, you can go in to go pull the sword. Link goes to pull the sword, and that's whenever like his body's not ready, his mind is not ready, so he is just frozen in time completely for 7 years. As he's pulling the sword, Ganon is standing at the front door, and Link doesn't know that. This whole thing was a plan from Ganon from the get-go. To come in and trick the king, to come in and have Zelda do this whole secret ops thing to get Link to go get all these fucking things for Ganon. This was an entire plan from Ganon from the get-go. Like, to not act like he's going to chase Link so Link will think that there's an urgency that he has to hurry up to go open the door to save Zelda. all of that was a complete plan by Ganon. Knocked him out so that way he could go and hide. Then Link goes to the fucking thing because he didn't give a shit what fucking Zelda was doing. He needed the Triforce. And he knew that the Triforce was underneath the fucking sword, and that once the sword was pulled, he'd be able to go grab the Triforce. So he knew all this shit, 100%, and literally was his plan from the get-go, which is fucking nuts. It really shows you, like, it's kind of awesome, because I don't feel like you really get that from villains back in those times. Like, villains were pretty fucking, like, ha ha ha, I'm evil. Princess is mine. Go fuck yourself. Like,
Kind of
that was
evil and
pretty
kind
much
of
it.
stupid. They, like,
Yeah,
getting a crafty
exactly.
villain was a rare thing.
And he also killed the king, by the way, too. That's why they were leaving.
Oh,
He had actually
shit!
stabbed and killed the king, and Zelda and Impa grabbed Zelda, was like, we out.
That was a valuable detail you kind of almost left out.
Yeah. Well, you don't really see it happen, and like they say it once, like the king was never really like a big deal. I mean, it's like it's Zelda's dad. Who cares? Like, I don't think you really interact with the king and have like a strong interaction with the king that's like actually like worthy of the story until like Breath of the Wild, which was like the latest one that came out because he helped you out through like a lot of shit.
Yeah, but regicide is rarely irrelevant to the plot.
That's fair. So pull the sword, and like I said, your body it's not able to handle the sword or anything, so you get frozen in time for 7 years until you're able to come out as the hero of time. Ganon goes down, he grabs the Triforce. As we talked about the Triforce back earlier in episode 1, all three pieces together, the Triforce is going to look for you to have a balance of the three. If you don't have a balance of the three virtues, which are power, wisdom, and courage, then you're kind of fucked. So Ganon obviously doesn't have the three, and his wish was for ultimate power to take over Hyrule. So the Triforce said, go fuck yourself, split into three, but power stayed with him because he had that virtue. So he did get power from the Triforce, just not the power that he was wanting, but it was enough. The Triforce then splits. Wisdom goes to Zelda, and courage goes to Link. That being said, while Link is in this kind of slumber state and training himself age-wise in his mind and everything with the sword and everything else, and learning how to become who he's supposed to become with the sage, Rauru, Ganondorf is basically destroyed Hyrule. He's used power to fucking, he's taken over the castle. It's his castle. Everything's all dark all the fucking time now. There's monsters roaming everywhere. All the places that you went and solved shit, everything's all fucked up there too. Like, it is all fucked.
So I got a good question.
Go ahead.
How does this mechanic work in the game? Like, do you just like zoom in on Link and Link is frozen and then they start showing you all of these things? Or do you get to play Link while he's learning and all that jazz in his mind? Like, what's the mechanic of this game?
It's more of a cutscene.
Okay.
So it shows you talking with Rauru, and Raru's telling you shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then telling you about the sages and the fact that Ganon, he tells you, there's a great idea, it was done poorly. You fucked up. Ganon's got Triforce. You're fucked. Like, this shit happened. Like, right now, he is fucking up Hyrule, and there is not a goddamn thing you can do about it right now. So he's kind of trying to tell you, like, you are the hero of time. You need to get ready for what your destiny is, all this other shit, and kind of getting you prepared for that. So after the 7 years pass, Link wakes up, walks out, and we finally have our hero of time. My favorite version of Link ever, with the fucking white tights and everything. Dude's a fucking badass. My favorite Link of all time. So every time I play like a Zelda game, I try to do my best to get to that, because like for instance, Breath of the Wild, completely different fucking outfit. I fucking hated it. Like what you started out in, I was like, this is fucking stupid. Completely different outfit. Like even Twilight Princess was kind of different because it was like the green tunic and it had chainmail underneath it, and it was like white pants and like a white shirt. I was like, give me the tights. All right, I'm a superhero kind of guy. Give me the tights back. I want the tights. All right, give me the tights. So he looks like a badass.
So like Luigi.
No, fuck him. Get out of here. Anyways, so not that guy. Link could pull it off. All right, Link could pull it off. Really flattering on him. Anyways, so so he emerges, and obviously first thing he wants to do is kind of figure out what the fuck's going on, what's fucking happened, all this shit's changed, and he needs to find Zelda. Impa's no longer around, but there's another one that has taken her place called Sheik of the Sheikah, and she's kind of helping, she's being the new Impa, like kind of leading you around and kind of telling you shit and what's going on and stuff like that. But before we go any further, should probably go ahead and wrap it there
Okay.
and save the
Apparently,
next episode to do Adult Link.
surprise to me, Ocarina of Time is actually going to take 3 episodes to get through.
Yeah, we probably could get through all of it in the next episode.
You think so? All
I
right.
think so. It's going to be close, but I think so. It just depends. You know what? Maybe not. It might be a 2 episoder, honestly, because we
This
did
is the
three
second
temples.
episode.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. The second half might be a 2 episoder because unlike us going through 3 temples, we actually have to get 7 sage seals. So there's a little bit more we have to do.
Oh, so there's a lot more in this game than I anticipated. Okay, got it. Well, that's going to do it for our 7th class, but before I actually start the wrap up, I do want to let you guys know. So, this is kind of a weird place to drop this. We will at
Mm,
minimum finish Ocarina of Time. But for you guys watching Dead Funny University, you guys may be aware that my game is Mass Effect. My Final Fantasy VII is Mass Effect, and we just found out they are remaking it and they are releasing it next year, early next spring. And there's nothing I want more than to get Chris to actually play that game. And so what I want to do is I would like to do a DFU semester where I am teaching about Mass Effect to try to get Chris into it. And so we kind of need some feedback from you guys on what you want us to do. We know a bunch of you are kind of religiously watching these Zelda episodes, and we don't want to lose that momentum if that's important to you. So we kind of see, Chris and I see a couple options, but we know you guys are also creative and you may have more ideas, so feel free to throw what you want in the comments. But one of these options
mhm,
might be we wrap up right here. We wrap up Ocarina of Time. And when we do, this is where the timeline splits. And so we can wrap up there, and then we can do a whole semester on Mass Effect where we go through Mass Effect 1. And at the end of Mass Effect 1, we can then do one of the timelines, do all of Mass Effect 2, do the next Zelda timeline, do all of Mass Effect 3, and do the final Zelda timeline. We could do that. We could also just continue with Zelda and not do the Mass Effect one until afterwards, which we're going to lose some of the relevance for the game coming out, which really sucks. But we could do that as well. We could also stop after Ocarina of Time and just do 1, 2, 3 Mass Effects and then jump back into Zelda whenever we're ready. Or we can
mhm,
do like a switch off where we start doing 1 week of Zelda and then 1 week of Mass Effect with the gameplay videos in between. So we're still going to end up like once a month you would get Zelda and once a month you would get Mass Effect kind of thing. So
mhm,
we're not totally sure what option we want to take because we don't want to lose anybody that's super interested in any of these pieces of content that we're putting out. And all of these pieces of content we're describing take a lot from Chris and I to develop. So it's not like we could do 2 in a week. That unfortunately is not an option just because we don't have the time to record and we don't have the time to edit all of that. So I want to know, and Chris wants to know what you guys want. Please put
mhm,
it in the comments. Feel free to re-listen to all those options. Come up with your own. Throw them in the comments. If you go through the comments and you see somebody that has a really great idea that you didn't think of, that you're like, actually, I want that one. Feel free to like that one. Feel free to comment on that one. Feel free to comment again. Hey, I want what he suggested. We're going to rely on your comments. If you reach out to us individually, it might get lost in our count of what people want us to do. So telling us in the comments on these videos is the
mhm,
most valuable thing that you can do. So please throw your thoughts down there. Please interact with the thoughts down there, and you will ultimately see what decision we made based off of what's going to about to come out once we're done with the Ocarina of Time. So please throw
yep,
that information down there because we really, really, really want to make sure that you guys stay engaged and we want to put out content that you guys want to see. But Mass Effect is my Final Fantasy VII. It is my favorite. It is my love, and I am so excited. You have no idea. So I will submit to whatever you guys choose, though. So just feel free to throw it down there. But if you enjoyed any of this content, please like and subscribe. Also, send this video to your friends. Hugely valuable. Turn on notifications. You guys have watched enough of our content. You know what I'm asking you to do. Come and interact with us. We've got comments, we've got
mhm.
Twitch links, we've got Twitter links, and we want to interact with you and we want your opinions. So hopefully we will hear from you soon, and we will see you in the next class of Dead Funny University. Bye, friends.